starting all indication and then I'll start. Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are starting with this theory of consumer behavior. And this is in continuation of what we have discussed in our previous classes about demand and law of demand. And I hope you all remember we'll just start with the basic crux of law of demand. The basic crux of LOD is law of demand. And if you remember, the law of demand just explains two things. It tries to explain two things, two main important things. That when the price goes down, when the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. And I'm not started with consumer behavior yet. I'm just trying to connect the law of demand with consumer behavior. And this is how the graph looks like when you draw it. This is how the graph looks like. Prices on the x-axis and your quantity demanded is on y-axis, and price is an independent variable and quantity demanded is your dependent variable, and always independent variables are written on x-axis. Okay, and dd is your demand curve, and it is downward sloping curve because the price and quantity demanded has an inverse relationship. That means when price goes down, quantity demanded rises, or when price rises, quantity demanded decreases. So whenever you have this kind of relationship, inverse relationship, in economics, whenever you study, all the curves will be downward sloping because of inverse relationship. Okay, so now you all understood, or you just bought the law of demand without, I don't know if you have questioned it in your mind yet, that you have just understood the law of demand, but have you ever understood about the mechanisms of law of demand? About the mechanisms of law of demand, that why this is an inverse relationship, why this is an inverse relationship. So there are two questions which might come in your mind, or if it has not come in your mind, there are two things which you can question yourself. Even if you have studied economics, I don't know if you have tried to question this thing in your mind. How does a consumer decide how much of a good to buy at a given price? How will any consumer, whether you talk about individual consumer or market consumer here refers to all the individual consumers. When you join them, it's called market demand, or how the whole market decides how much of a good or service. So whenever in economics, whenever it's goods written, it's actually also services, because economics is always about goods and services. So how much of goods and services to buy at a given price? That means at OP price level, what should be the OQ? So I'll just show you the curve once again. So at OP price level, this is the OP price level. What should be your OQ? So this is my OQ. So what should be my OQ? So at this price level, where should this point come? So how is this determined? Okay, this is the first question. And the second question is, why does he means here the consumer, why does the consumer buy more goods when its price falls? The second part of the law of demand, that is again, I'll show you the curve, that when the price falls from P to P1, okay, when the price falls from P to P1, why does consumer increase it from Q to Q1? So this is my second question, this is the second part which can come to your mind, and this is today's agenda, which I am trying to cover, that why these two things happens in economics. Okay, why these two things happen in economics? Because economics is not something, okay, it is given and we have to just take it. We need to sometimes question it to ourselves, that why these things are happening. Okay, you can actually keep yourself in the position, and then you can understand why these things are happening. So yeah, so in this consumer behavior, we are going to learn. So we are going to learn, just remember these two questions always when we are today, whatever I'm teaching, just try to remember these two questions at every point of time, and it will, my today's explanation is going to answer you the question 1 and question 2. So in this chapter, we are going to learn the behavior of consumer. One second. In this, we are going to learn the behavior of consumers with respect to explaining the principle behind the law of demand. So the consumer behavior will be explained, keeping intact the principles given by law of demand. Because in economics, actually, it's not one, the chapters are separate. Each chapter forms the basis for the another chapter. Okay. And yeah. So I would want to we are going to invite a special guest also today in our class. And that guest's name is Mr. Bunty. So he will be helping us to understand various economics concept also very nicely. So now we will be understanding the consumer behavior with the help of two important economic principles. And we will be now, Mr. Bunty is the guest for our day today. And he is the person who wants to know two questions. At what price? What quantity should be demanded at what price? And when the price falls, how much should he increase his quantity? Okay, so he has two things in his mind to ask. And with that, we will be studying his consumer behavior or Mr. Bunty's behavior. Okay, yeah, this is one tip. Whenever you are actually studying something boring and you're not able to understand, just try to make it funny for yourself. Just try to get some lively thing and try to think that okay, you are actually explaining him this particular concept, and just try to make it interesting. So this is how you can actually turn some dry concepts or something which you feel is dry into an interesting one. So here, this consumer behavior, we are going to cover two important theories to understand. So first is your cardinal utility analysis. Cardinal utility analysis. And the second one is your ordinal utility analysis. I bet you that after today's class, this cardinal utility and ordinal utility will be actually fixed in your mind. And whenever you read the book after this, it will be just like it will be like a revision for you. You will not be actually mugging it up. And cardinal utility analysis is also called marginal utility analysis. And ordinal utility analysis is also called indifference curve analysis. Okay. So, okay, I'm just a quick feedback. Am I clear? You are able to understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the first one is your cardinal utility analysis. So the first one is your cardinal utility analysis. And now, remember, whenever you are studying a particular concept or whenever you're studying a particular law in economics from now on, whenever you study any law or any principle in economics, first keep in the mind that you have to first understand the introduction of that. And this is how you are going to make notes. This is how you are going to make notes also for yourself. So that is the reason why today I do not have any PowerPoint or I do not have any Word document which is written, and I have put here my hand notes to show you how to actually study for economics. That is the whole reason of me putting my hand notes here. So first, write about that particular theory. and then, write introduction assumption. Now, this will not be written in the book. This you have to write for yourself, so that every time you read, you will understand, okay, this is an introduction of the topic I'm reading. So it will be clear. You will be setting an agenda in the mind. Okay, why am I studying this particular topic? So now, why are we studying this? Why does Bunty want to study cardinal utility analysis? Why do we need to study this theory? It's also called the background of the theory. So every consumer or household, consumer in economics is also called household. Okay. Every household has to buy number of goods and services with his limited income. So on the very first day when I explained you demand, I remember I gave you an example. Human beings have needs, and needs are unlimited, and resources are scarce. Money is the resource. Income is scarce, and wants are unlimited. Okay, so the demand for goods and services are unlimited. So this is the introduction. And the basic assumption of economic theory is that the consumer is rational. The consumer is rational. Consumer is a rational being. What does the word rational being means? Means that consumers are having brains and they can distinguish between good and bad. He tries to maximize his total utility from his purchase. Now, I will remind you some of the incidents where you would have tried to maximize your total utility to such an extent that you would have tried to even take out the last paisa also from that. Okay. When your toothpaste is getting over, you would have squeezed it to the end. Even after squeezing it, when it is not coming out, you would have tried cutting it from, middle part. That is one example. Or maybe when you were a kid, you liked ice cream too much. I don't know how many of you have done that, but you would have, after completing the whole ice cream, you would have either licked the whole ice cream thing with your hand, or you would have, licked it with your tongue, the whole ice cream cup. How many of you have done that? Anything which you like, be it ice cream or any food item which you love. How many of you have done that? I have done it. Or how many of you have waited till the last movie, till the last, you would have gone to cinema hall, and till the last, even when they write the concluding notes and everything gets over, and then you have moved out. If I'm sure you're feeling embarrassed to share, but then yeah, that's the reality. We are all rational beings, and we try to utilize each and every penny we have spent. Okay, and that is the very basic example. That is the very basic fact of this whole chapter, consumer behavior. Okay, so understand why you are doing it. From the next time you are just squeezing out every penny from whatever you are buying, goods or services. Remember, you are a consumer and you are a rational being, and you are actually using cardinal utility analysis. You are following the principles of cardinal utility. So whenever you exhibit such behavior. So now this is just an introduction part. Okay. Now, what is the basic problem? Whenever a law is framed, that means that there is a basic problem. And to overcome that basic problem, that law or principle has come. So the basic problem is, how should a consumer allocate his given income on different goods and services so as to maximize his total utility? As I said, the income with consumer is limited, and every consumer or every individual, we have unlimited wants. At any point of time, we can't say that, okay, fine, I am done. No, at this particular stage of my life, all my demands are fulfilled and I'm fully satisfied. I don't need anything. This never happens. So that is the basic problem of how should a consumer allocate his given income on different goods and services so as to maximize his total utility. So I'll just, draw something or connect something so that maybe you will remember this theory with the help of this particular diagram of what I have drawn here. We have a consumer we call Mr. Bunty. So Bunty is our consumer here. Bunty is our consumer here, and Bunty has unlimited wants. Bunty has unlimited wants and needs. And Bunty also earns income. He earns income. He's not a student, he earns income. And now, because he has unlimited needs and wants, he has to, because he has unlimited needs and wants and he earns income, you know that uh, any need or want which has an economic backup to support that need and want, then that can get converted into desires and then demand. So now he wants to satisfy his unlimited needs by purchasing goods and services. Okay. And what Bunty is trying to do is to satisfy his desires. He is spending on goods and services. Now, the basic problem is how should he allocate? So the problem is how should he allocate his income on various goods and services? That is the basic problem of how he has to allocate his income on various goods and services. And when he buys a particular goods and services, Bunty is looking forward to maximize his utility. Okay, maximize his utility. So total utility. He wants total satisfaction. We tell them when we buy something, we want to have total satisfaction, 100% satisfaction. So in economics terms, we call it as total utility. Satisfaction means use. And use in economics, we call it as utility, how much utility that goods and services is giving to us. And in other words, what is your total utility? Total utility is consumers or Bunty's consumers maximizes his total utility. Also remember, I told you that consumer is rational. Why he wants to do this? You might tell that, okay, I'm just buying goods and services, but I'm not looking for total utility. No, that is not the case. It will not happen until and unless you are the world's richest person. That sometimes, there's a joke that if suppose 500 rupees falls down, Ambani would not even pick up that 500 rupees note, because every 2 seconds he's earning crores of rupees. So if he bends down, he will waste two seconds, and then at 500 rupees much lesser than the crores he's earning. Okay, so this is just something I heard in Netflix in one of the series and serials. So yeah, so and consumers are rational. Consumers are rational. Basic assumption that consumers are rational, and that is why they want to maximize his total utility. Now, coming to the consumer's equilibrium, what is consumer's equilibrium? Okay, so we are talking about now when Bunty wants to maximize his total utility, he wants to remain in a situation called equilibrium. Okay, now I'll just tell you what is equilibrium. So remember, our consumer here is Bunty. So what is consumer equilibrium? Consumer's equilibrium refers to consumer will be in equilibrium when he spends his given income on purchase of various goods and services in such a way so that so as to maximize his total utility. Okay, so you can just look here. I have tried to draw Bunty. Now you can see Bunty. Our Bunty is happy because he's earning income, and he wants to purchase goods and he wants to purchase services. And Bunty is doing some balancing act. He's standing on the, you know, on in middle, and he wants to spend his income in such a way, allocate his income in such a way so that his total utility is maximum. His total utility is maximum. So when he is balancing, he's neither falling this side nor he's falling this side. Okay. That means he's looking for excess utility, or then he's spending less income. So he's in neither of the sides, he's in between. So when the income equals to when the last income which he has spent becomes equals to the total utility, then Bunty can be said to be in equilibrium. Okay, so this I've just drawn so that you can always remember this example in your exam, that when income is equals to total utility, so when income is equals to your total utility, then Bunty is in equilibrium. So now, how will Bunty maximize his total utility? That's the next question. The consumer Bunty will maximize his total utility, this one, when he allocates his income among various commodities in such a way that the marginal utility of the last rupee spent on each commodity, the marginal utility spent on each commodity is equal. Okay. So when the marginal utility spent on each commodity is equal. Now our Bunty is confused. Bunty is confused because too many new terms are coming. Marginal utility, total utility, utility. So let's try to make things simple for Bunty and make things easier for Bunty. So Bunty is confused. He wants to buy goods and services, and he is actually just looking at total utility. But in between total utility, a lot many new words have come. Utility, marginal utility, and total utility. You know, three terms have come altogether new to Bunty. Bunty just knows one thing, that he has income and he wants to allocate it. And after allocating, he wants to just maximize his total utility. So these are the two things which he knows. But in between here, everything is a big question mark for Bunty. How to understand this? Okay, so those who are here with me, just tell me, till now, are you able to understand? I want you to unmute and just say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone who is not able to understand?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now I'll be explaining you what is utility, what is marginal utility, and what is total utility. So what is utility? See, the normal English word of, if you just look at the English dictionary, what does utility mean? Utility mean? Can you just tell me what does utility mean to you? Don't look at the definition what I've written down. Yes, utility is the satisfaction, usefulness. Okay. So what does utility mean? Utility refers to the want satisfying power of a commodity. Every commodity which you consume or which you use, the goods and services, has the power to satisfy your want. That is why you are using it. Those commodities, those goods or services which does not satisfy your want, Bunty is rational. Bunty is not going to pick up that thing which does not satisfy his want, or because see, here you are attending economics class. The whole reason being that this particular service which I'm offering to you satisfies your want of knowledge in that subject, because you have to give examination at some point of time. So in other words, utility can be defined as the amount of satisfaction. So, okay, it's not just satisfaction, it's the amount of satisfaction derived from the consumption of a commodity or a service. Okay. either a commodity or a service. For example, if Bunty consumes pizza, why he's consuming pizza? Because pizza satisfies his want of hunger, natural urge, okay, basic urge of hunger. Bunty reads books because he wants knowledge. Here, the satisfaction, here the want satisfaction is his want is knowledge, urge of knowledge. Bunty watches movie. Why he wants to watch a movie? Because his urge of satisfying his need for entertainment. So I hope you saw that what is utility? It is basically a want satisfying power of a commodity. Those commodities which does not satisfy your wants, you are not going to use that because consumer is a rational being. Now, coming to the second point, what is total utility? Okay, I just showed you that Bunty wants to understand three topics. What is utility, what is marginal utility, and what is total utility. The second thing is total utility. Total utility refers to the total satisfaction. Okay, in the first point I just told you, it is the want it is the um, amount of satisfaction. Okay, amount of satisfaction. In the second definition, the only change is before satisfaction there is one more word which is coming in, that is total satisfaction. It refers to the total satisfaction derived by the consumer from the consumption of a specific quantity of a commodity. Specific quantity of a commodity. In other words, it refers to the sum total of utilities derived from all the units consumed of a particular commodity. Just a very small example here. For example, I want to consume ice cream because it's very hot, and to satisfy the craving to suppress the heat, I want to have ice cream. So when I want to have ice cream, that is just utility, want satisfying power of the ice cream. But how many ice creams will I consume? For example, I consumed one ice cream, one cone of ice cream, and then I took the second cone, and then I took the third cone. So when I talk about the total utility here, my total utility will be the sum total of utility which I got from consuming all the three cones of ice cream. That will be my total utility. Okay, so utility is the base. Utility just talks about the want satisfaction power of a commodity, whereas total utility states that, see, we as consumers, we just do not consume one product or one service. It can be that sometimes we can just consume one, or it can be sometimes you can consume more than one at the same time when you're consuming. It's like a recurring consumption. After one morsel, second morsel, third morsel, fourth morsel, it's like it can be that continuous consumption also, or day-to-day consumption also. So that's total utility. So now, Bunty loves Pani Puri. Here our Bunty is very happy. He loves Pani Puri. And see here, it's a cone, and in that cone, Pani Puri is served to him. So now the question is the total number of Pani Puris Bunty will eat to maximize his total utility. The total number of Pani Puris which the Bunty is going to consume to maximize his total utility. Okay, that is your total utility. Then next comes a marginal utility. The third term is marginal utility. What is marginal utility? Marginal utility refers to the additional utility derived from the consumption of additional. So instead of the word total, here the catch is the word additional. Okay, so here the catch, the word here is additional. And whenever you study in economics from now on, whether you study in cost chapter, revenue chapter, marginal is always additional. Okay, marginal is always additional. It refers to the additional utility derived from the consumption of an additional unit of the commodity. In other words, it is an increase in the total utility by consuming one more unit of the commodity. One more unit of the commodity. Don't worry, all the 3 points, utility, total utility and marginal utility, I will be covering with the help of an example. But just right now, I want you to understand the definition. Okay, so you can see here the total utility and marginal utility is just a buildup of the basic definition of utility. So if you just remember if you just remember the definition of utility, if you just add the word total satisfaction in this definition, then it becomes total utility. And when you add the word additional utility by consuming additional unit of commodity. When you add the word additional, then the utility definition becomes marginal utility definition. Now again, I'm bringing our Bunty loves Pani Puri. Bunty loves Pani Puri. And let's understand the concept of utility through Bunty having Pani Puris. I know it's like past 7:30 p.m. and I might make your mouth water at this time talking about Pani Puris, but then yeah, this chapter is very interesting. And this whole topic is very consumer behavior is very interesting. Today, I might not be able to finish. I mean, it is not possible for me to finish the utility topic today, but then I'm trying to cover at least cardinal utility today. Okay. So now for the example, we have taken the utility part, utility that Bunty wants to consume pani puri. So the pani puri here is the food, okay? Food or junk or whatever you call it. It is not junk, sorry, because I don't consider it as junk food. But pani puri satisfies his hunger or craving for eating something sour and salty. So now, how many pani puris do you think Bunty can eat? Do you think Bunty should eat to maximize his total utility? Tell me.
6 or 7.
6 or 7, yeah. So, okay, so let's just put some figures here. 6 or 7. So I'll take it as 6 because Bunty is rational, okay, and he does not want to upset his stomach as well. But yeah, then he wants to maximize his total utility. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we have taken 0 also because 0 is also considered in economics, and this is also a situation which we have to study. When he consumes 0 pani puris, what should be his total utility? This you answer me. It's all logic and maths. 0 pani puri, what should be the utility? Come on, this is basic common sense. If he's not having any pani puri, then his total utility will be 0. Okay, I've written utils here. Yeah, I've written utils here because the unit, like we need a unit of measurement. Like how we measure rupee is we measure price in rupees term, weights in kilograms or grams, and inches and like for height and stuff. So for utility, the value here is utils. Okay, we call it as utils. We measure it by utils. Like we call 1 rupee, 2 rupees. So to measure the utility, we call it as 1 util, 2 util. It's like that. So that's utils. So when 0 pani puri will give him 0 utility, and the marginal utility at this stage is undefined. It's not 0, it is undefined. Why it is undefined? Because okay, I'll explain it towards the end why it is undefined, because we have to just compute marginal utility. So now when he proceeds, he goes to the pani puri stall. Till now he has not consumed, it is just in his mind. So whenever that thought is just in his mind and he's just salivating for pani puri, remember his total utility is 0 because he has not yet started consuming it. So his marginal utility is also undefined. So he goes to the stall and he just takes the bowl to consume, because they will give you in the bowl, right? So now after he has his first bite of pani puri or the first pani puri, the total utils, what he gets is 10. Okay. Then he proceeds to his second pani puri. So he just got the taste, and then he moves to the second pani puri, and then he gets 17. 17 util satisfaction. Okay, utils here is the satisfaction level. Then the third one, he wants more. Then the third pani puri gives him 21 util satisfaction. Then the fourth one gives him 22. And the fifth one again gives him 22. And then the sixth one gives him 19 utils of satisfaction. So you can see here, you might be noticing something then that from 10 to 7. Okay, now, okay, let me just tell you what is marginal utility, and then I'll come to this explanation. So now what is the marginal utility? I hope you understood what is total utility. Total utility at first Pani Puri is 10. Second Pani Puri, the total becomes 17. Third, it is 21. 14th, it is 22. 15, it is 22. And 6 is equals to 19. Okay. So now let's find what's the marginal utility. Once again, coming to the definition of marginal utility. Marginal utility refers to the additional utility derived from the consumption of an additional unit of a commodity. Okay, additional unit of a commodity. In other words, it is an increase in the total utility. It is the increment part in the total utility by consuming one more unit of that particular commodity. So now, when he consumes the first Pani Puri, his marginal utility becomes what? The additional utility becomes from 0 to 10. See, it is changing. So you can see here, we will do 1 minus 0, utils of 1 minus 0. So 10 minus 0. So this is going to be 10. Then see what is the change. Then from the first Pani Puri, he consumes the second Pani Puri. So now when he consumes from second Pani Puri to the third Pani Puri, then the additional utility what he has got is 17 minus 10. Okay, this will be 17 minus 10, the previous one, additional. He had already got 10 satisfaction, 10 level satisfaction. Now he has got 17. So additional is 7. Then third one, similarly, it will be 21 minus 17, which will be 4. Then when he consumes the fourth Pani Puri, see, from 21, it's just moving to 22. So it's 22 minus 21. And this is 1. Then fifth consumption, fifth Pani Puri he is consuming. Again, it is just 22. So 22 minus 22, he is not getting any extra satisfaction. It remains the same. So it becomes 0 here. Then he consumes the sixth Pani Puri. So from 22, it's reducing to 19. That means, okay, it's done. Now the sixth unit has become extra for him. So here it will be 22 minus 19. And this will be, sorry, I'm so sorry. It should not 22 minus 19. It's 19 minus 22. And this is minus 3. Now, what do you think, just looking at this table, and if you understand mathematics well, what do you think, where is the utility maximum for, or just don't understand maths, just looking at just the data. Can you just tell me, what is the maximum point, maximum utility point for Bunty?
First one.
Which one?
First Pani Puri.
Okay, first one gives him the maximum satisfaction because it moved from 0 to 10. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, what is the point of saturation? Saturation or the maximum? What gave him, which Pani Puri gave him the maximum satisfaction? Okay, so this is a little tricky one. So this is the fifth Pani Puri which gave him maximum satisfaction, because see, now his utility here becomes 0. It is not adding any extra utility. So this is the point when he is like, he has had it. Now that's the maximum level. That's the peak point of his satisfaction. And beyond that, if he is eating, it will cause him indigestion, or he will be just overeating. So fifth is the point. See, till fourth also he got one additional utility. Okay. So till now it has not become 0. So at the time, so this is the point where when he consumes the fifth unit, the income what he has spent on Pani Puri is actually now maximum. That beyond the fifth one, he is not getting any utility. See, when he consumes the sixth one, his utility is becoming negative. I mean, like now it's overeating. Now let me explain you. Yeah. So as you can see here, which I thought I'll discuss with you later. As you can see here, though it is increasing from 10 to 17, 17 to 21, 21 to 22, 22, it's increasing, though the numbers are increasing. But if you see the marginal utility, actually it is decreasing to that point that it becomes zero and then it goes negative. Okay, so we have this principle called law of diminishing marginal utility. We'll be doing later part in this chapter. It is again, I will be using this same example to explain you law of diminishing marginal utility, and that will explain why this thing has happened. You know why this kind of decline has happened in his utility. If he loves pani puri, then even if he eats the 100 pani puri, then it should be maximum, right? But no, that is not the case. Consumers are rational, and then they can consume any goods and services only up to one limit. So that doesn't mean, now here I'll try to explain you, that doesn't mean if someone gives him free pani puri also, just because the law of demand says that when the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. So even if someone tries to give him free pani puri, he's going to just have it. No, he will stop it. So here comes the first answer. Okay, there is a particular point where he will stop consuming, because consumer is irrational and he will be behaving in a rational manner. Okay. So now, what is marginal utility? Marginal utility is the difference between, marginal utility is a little tricky one. Okay. Not a tricky one. It's just like you need understanding here. So marginal utility is the difference between two successive utility figures. Two successive utility, or I can call it as total utility figures. Why I'm writing two successive total utility figures? Because marginal utility is not like a specific point. It can be anything. If I ask you what is a marginal utility at the fourth pani puri. So at the fourth pani puri, the marginal utility will be a difference between, the fourth pani puri minus the third pani puri. At the fifth pani puri level, the marginal utility will be fifth pani puri level minus the fourth pani puri level. Okay? Between the two successive utility figures. So if the number of pani puris consumed is, so if the number of pani puris consumed is n, okay? Because we don't know the number, na? Bunty, how many he will consume, we don't know. So if the number of pani puri consumed by Bunty is n, then the last unit of pani puri to be consumed by Bunty will be nth unit. Okay. So we don't know how many pani puris he's going to consume. So the last pani puri which he's going to consume will be called as the nth unit. Okay, nth unit. So the sixth unit. Last here is sixth. So sixth is called the nth unit. And the marginal utility at any point of time. So marginal utility of nth pani puri. So we don't know now which one will be last. If he stops at fifth, then 5 pani puris, then the nth will be fifth. If he stops at sixth, then the nth will be sixth. Okay, so we don't know what will be his stopping point. So whichever point we are stopping, and whichever point, if we stop and see which like for example, we stop at the fourth level and see what is his marginal utility. So here fourth will be the nth one. Okay, so fourth will be considered as the last one. So the marginal utility of nth pani puri will be total utility of n pani puri minus total utility of n minus 1 pani puri. Okay. So if suppose we are stopping here at fifth level or fifth level, okay, we are stopping here at fifth level. So that means we want to know what is his marginal utility at the fifth pani puri. Okay. So now here we are stopping at 5. So the total unit of n pani puri. So n here is the fifth one minus total utility of n minus 1. So 5 minus 1, which means we are going to subtract the fifth total utility with the fourth total utility. 5 minus 1 is 4 with the fourth total utility. That's why we do. This is the fifth and this is the fourth. So we call it as this as n, and we call this as n minus 1. So n minus 1 here is this n is 5 minus 1, which will become 4. Actually, with formula, it becomes complicated, but logically, if you will see, it is very easy to understand. If you just subtract 5 minus 4, whichever step you are, fifth minus 4, from the lower one, when you subtract the upper one, you will get the marginal utility at that particular place. So if you are subtracting and you want to know at sixth unit, so sixth is your n is 6, and then n minus 1 will be 6 minus 1. So this will be fifth. I hope you got this. Did you get it? If you just give some response, it will be easy for me to understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now this is called, thus the marginal utility of nth unit will be, marginal utility of nth unit will be total utility of n minus total utility of n minus 1. Okay, why we have taken total? Because this is your total utility column. This is your total utility column, and this is your marginal utility column. And that is going to give you the marginal utility of nth unit. So mu nth is the marginal utility of nth unit. It can be either 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it can be at any point of time. And what is TUN? TUN is called total utility of n commodities. So this is called your total utility of n units, and TUN minus 1 is total utility of n minus 1 units. Okay. Thus, total utility is always equal to marginal utility of all the commodities. When you sum up the marginal utilities of all the commodities, then you are going to get the total utility. So you can just check and see. When you sum up this, so 10 plus 7 is 17, 17 plus 4 is 21, 20 plus 1 plus 1 is 22, and 22 minus 3 is 19. So you can see this, the marginal utility, when you added it up, it's going to give you equal to the total utility of sixth unit. Could you see this? When you added up the marginal utility of all, then you're going to get the total utility up to the 6. So this will be always equal to this. That means when your total utility of the last commodity becomes equal to the sum total of marginal utility of all, then that means your derivation of marginal utility is correct. So marginal utility is the sum total of all the marginal utilities of all the commodities. So here he has consumed 6 pani puris, so we have added 6 values of marginal utility. Thus, your marginal utility is nothing but the addition made to the total utility by addition of one more unit of a commodity. That is your marginal utility. Was this clear, this example?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you want me to continue a little bit, or you want me to stop here that, okay, till today it is enough?